Are you good?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So, you start up kind of peer level competition now. How would you assess where you are right now in terms of where you want to be?
Obviously, everybody's got a chance to play. Like, I thought the exhibition games were really good. Sanford and Morehead State, won their leagues last year. And so you're playing teams that have won championships. And, it's early in the season. I think a lot of coaches like to ease their way into it. I think that's slowly changing. I think just with your net ranking and everything that goes into trying to get into the tournament and then trying to get the best seed possible. So obviously being able to play Xavier through the Gavitt Games, I think that's going to be the challenge for us going forward is, do we add another conference game? Do we add 2 other conference games? And then how do we kind of get those banked in games of this level, without the ACC Big Ten Challenge and without the Gavitt Games? Because I don't think a lot of people want to come in here and play in Mackey Arena, nor does a lot of schools want to go on the road and play. But I think that's what's best for, us, is being able to try to get some home and home starting here and some home and home starting on the road. So this is going to be a physical game. This is going to be a good game. Obviously, he's a great coach and has been very, very successful in his career. So we've competed against his teams, and they always lay it on the line. They always defend. Offensively, they're playing very fast, and they're really, really pushing the basketball. And kind of watching them on film and then realizing they only have one guy that's playing currently that was with them last year that's getting in games. It's pretty amazing the way they played and some of the things that they were able to do with just one returner. So, but that's kind of right the landscape of college basketball, especially when you get a job. So he gets a job, he coaches for a year. Now you go into your second year, sometimes that shift can happen either immediately or that first year right after.
What do you see in their front court being down Fremantle and I assume Logan Duncan?
Excuse me?
What do you see in their front court being down a couple guys?
Well, those guys that they have are, they're new to the system, but they're pretty good players. Like, they're physical, and the big kid that, transferred from North Texas is a very physical post. He scored the ball in the last game with a couple of nice post moves. The other guys are good players. One can drive the basketball, but they all lay it on the line. They all embrace the physicality of the game, get on the glass. And I think that for us, it's going to be important to try to keep them off the glass. I think it's going to be important for them. They do a great job of sealing in the post, of just not getting buried down there. But a very, very physical front court. And the guys that sub in for them are the same way. They're very, very physical.
How hard is it to scout other teams' defenses when they're going to have to play against Edie and pretty much have to have one?
Well, it's a little bit of guesswork if you haven't went through a season or you haven't played them before when you've had him. So there's no way they can do something that we haven't seen, but it doesn't mean that when they start to do it, it's something that we've prepared for because they haven't doubled so far. So if they're going to play one-on-one and keep playing one-on-one, which some teams have done, then you play it one way. If they double ball side or they double with their biggest guy, or everyone's a little bit different, or they come baseline side. There's only so many things that you can do. At times people don't guard people and they just back up. So we just try to prepare for everything in a situation like this, because you ultimately, you always have a little bit of guesswork from watching them on film, but when they've only played 2 games and they haven't doubled, you got to just work on multiple things just so you're prepared for everything.
The one thing that go ahead.
With a team like Xavier that relies heavily on their backcourt, do you think this is kind of a night where we can really see the Zach and Trey kind of connection in post?
Sure. If it presents itself. You got to be able to get the ball where you want it to get, and so if you're going to try to play out of the low post, you got to be able to get that position. And then with their physicality, I think that's a big question. Can we do that? But there's no question that we're going to try to get the ball inside no matter who we're playing.
First 2 teams have gotten a lot of offensive rebounds. Do you view that as something you can? The first 2 teams you played have gotten a lot of offensive rebounds. Do you view that as 2 teams shooting a lot of threes, missing a lot of threes, and the ball just
a little bit of that, but also part of it is us not boxing out and getting those rebounds. I think we got to do a better job rebounding the basketball in those scenarios. And it gets, when you shoot tough threes, the ball squirts out a little bit differently, but it's your job to get them. It's on the court, get the basketball. So we got to do a better job of finding those loose balls, those long rebounds.
Is the chess match really kind of trying to slow them down with their backcourt? And you talked about them wanting to play fast. I think you want to play fast in transition. Yeah. Maybe which team can slow the other team down and disrupt them the most?
Yeah, if you take care of the basketball and you take good shots, I think that really helps. If you're going to play in transition and you're turning the ball over, you're taking bad shots, now you're going to be behind a lot. So I think that's going to be important for both teams, is to be able to just have quality possessions, take care of the basketball, and take good shots. I think if we can do that, we really help ourselves setting our defense, because you got to slow them down. Like if they're just going to get and push the basketball and just do whatever they want, and you can't build walls and keep them out of the paint, then it's going to be a long night for us. And on the flip of it, we want to push the basketball. We want to get in transition. We want to create some of those opportunities by dominating the glass, getting some deflections and some turnovers, and stealing some easy points.
Is a Lance Jones 30-footer a good shot?
What's that?
Is a Lance Jones 30-footer a good shot?
I prefer
it was last game.
Yeah, I told him in the game if there was a 4-pointer, it'd make a lot of sense. I said, but it's just 3. I said, just step in. The thing that happens with that is if you don't play on the arc and you're way out, like you're one dribble, when you're on the arc, you're one dribble away from the basket, and you can feed the post, and you can shoot a 3. When you're out there, you can't feed the post, and you're 2 dribbles away from getting a layup. So everything is better there. Now, sometimes you get pushed out and you can't help it, but a lot of those, like he likes spotting up and shooting deep 3s, but I don't see the purpose. But obviously he got hot and made a couple of them, but one was way out that he missed, and one was way out that he made. So.
You started playing Trey Coconut before this year, and then that's kind of moved Caleb first to the backup 5.
Yeah.
What have you seen from his minutes so far in these first 2 games, and what's the expectations kind of going forward with Caleb first?
For Caleb, yeah, I feel very comfortable, Mason, Trey, or Caleb being in that spot. Obviously, Caleb and Mason have shared time there in the past. And then we didn't play Trey. They were playing a little bit in non-conference last year. And we just thought with his improvements and his post-up game with Zach and some attention going away from Zach, people really paying attention to allow him to be a one-on-one post player right there. But it's something that's not permanent. It's not one of those things. I think Mason really stretches the defense, his ability to shoot 3s, puts people in binds. Caleb has done a really good job. His athleticism is really kind of what stands out. We need to use his motor. He's done a great job at diving, and he gets those dunks. You saw in the last game his ability to dive and just kind of beat around the basketball. He didn't knock down any of his perimeter shots, but just got to keep taking those good ones and keep taking those ones at rhythm.
After the Moorhead game, I think you categorized your defense as just all right.
Yes.
Watching the film, with energy, effectiveness, what did you see?
It was just all right. Just a lot of little things, just not kind of finishing plays more than anything. I thought we were just kind of a day late, dollar short on a lot of different actions that they were running and just being detailed. And then we got off the scouting report on certain things and how we were going to defend it. And that's the one thing that really breaks up your defense, is when guys don't follow how you're going to guard things and what you're going to do. You guys have walked into enough practices and see us finish practice, and we talk about this is what we're going to do. And then we watch film and say this is what we're going to do. And we walk through the next day and say this is what we're going to do. We hand them a scouting report. This is what we're going to do. So you do it about 5 or 6 times, and so when they don't do it, you see why coaches lose their minds. Now, if you're trying to do what we ask you to do, and the other teams you say their offense is better than our defense, you can live with that. You don't like it, but you got somebody out there following the scouting report, doing what they're supposed to. You fragment us, you split us when you start doing things that are different than what we have talked about. And there's some things in basketball that you have gray area and you have things that you're going to read, and then there's some things that are just flat out absolutes, and this is what we're going to do. Especially ball screen defense. Ball screen defense becomes absolutes in how you're going to do things. So we just got to be better. And I think we played hard. I think we swarmed the basketball and did a good job there, but our discipline wasn't very good.